if you listen to the doctors, Aaron Hernandez was just as much of a victim as the people that he killed.
It's a young samurai, I smoke a spliff in a cup, and I pass a lot to my bro. No fuck with my flow. Couple bad bitches and a cup of that Joe. So it's just THC.
BB and Jack Frost, what's up, party people? Hey, before the video even start, hit that like button, subscribe, and join the notification gang. Hashtag Bronx Bombers. Let's get it. Alright, so I'm pretty sure the majority of us have heard the story of Aaron Hernandez, but for those who haven't, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna just go over it one more time real quick. Aaron Hernandez was a very celebrated football player for the Indiana New England Patriots. Very good. He played opposite Gronk. They were both tight ends, and they actually lifted the. There was something that nobody had ever seen at that time. Two pass catching, pass blocking, and run blocking tight ends on the same team that was as proficient as they were. They just helped New England just come to a if he did not get arrested and for these crimes in which he's accused of, New England would have just been rolling for many years. Let's just say that. Even though it's not saying that they aren't now. So basically what happened is he was in a nightclub at one time and some dude spilled a drink on him or something like that. And after the guy spilled the drink on him, guy left the bar when it was time to leave, and he was driving home. And Aaron Hernandez and his friends pulled up beside them and killed the guy and his friend, I believe. Then later on, when Aaron Hernandez was under the belief that one of the gentlemen were gonna turn evidence on him and rat him out to the police, this guy was his friend. He called him out and they took him out to somewhere and they ended up killing him. The murder that Aaron Hernandez is in jail for is the killing of his friend. Well, was in jail for. After going to prison, Aaron Hernandez was in prison. After going to prison, he subsequently hanged himself at some point, and then his brain was sent to the doctors in Boston University, I believe it is, where they do the CTE research, and it was found that, as far as the research is going, I'm gonna play this video, and then I'll come back right after the video, and I'll give you my the rest of my commentary.
We are learning today that former NFL player and convicted murderer Aaron Hernandez suffered the most severe case of CTE brain damage ever discovered in a person his age. This afternoon, researchers revealed the results of their autopsy, a very complete look at Hernandez's brain. They say the damage could have seriously impacted his decision-making skills and his judgment, and could have caused rage behavior.
This brain has been one of the most significant contributions to our work. We very rarely get an opportunity to see disease in such a young person, and the medical examiners delivered the brain in absolutely pristine condition. So we are able to understand this disease at the scientific level in a way that's very rarely presented. These are very unusual findings to see in an individual of this age. We've never seen this in our 468 brains, except in individuals some 20 years older.
Hernandez was 27 years old when he committed suicide while serving a life sentence for murdering his friend. I want to talk to a former NFL player, also someone who happens to be a CTE research advocate, Marvin Washington. I am really glad to talk to you, sir, about this because I know that you've encountered Aaron Hernandez a few times over the years. Did the results surprise you here?
No, not at all. And I think that whenever they do the studies, whether they're testing 10 guys or 100 guys, it always comes out over 95%. And when Frank Gifford died, who you can't tell the story of the NFL or even Monday Night Football without his name, was diagnosed with it a couple of years ago, I told an ex-teammate of mine, I think we all have it to a certain extent.
As you can tell from the video, Aaron Hernandez, they say, suffered from some of the worst, actually the worst case of CTE they had ever seen in someone his age. People who usually have, the degradation to the level that his brain was is usually at least 20 years older. So that just says a lot. That says a lot based on his ability to control his actions. Like, for those that don't know, anybody here that knows somebody, I'm very sorry to bring this up, but if anybody here knows somebody that has Alzheimer's or any other, thing wrong with their brain, they know that sometimes these people can't control themselves and they just do things and they just think things and they don't remember things. And, it's horrible. It's something very terrible to live with. And that's kind of the situation that Aaron Hernandez was going through, but he wasn't in his 50s. He wasn't in his 60s. He was 27. Aaron Hernandez died at 27 with the brain of basically like a 70-year-old. So when he initially committed suicide, one of the effects of it is that he had not. It was something to go with, like, how the legalities of it. So now it kind of like takes away his conviction or something like that, in order for his family to then receive monies from the New England Patriots. Whereas if he would have just went to prison and did time, his family wouldn't have been able to get monies from the New England Patriots. It was like a couple of $1 million in order to live off of. So it was always believed that the reason in which why he committed suicide was so that he could leave money to his family, because that was the only way that the New England Patriots was going to pay his family, is if his like a certain amount of time had not passed or something like that. So it allowed for his conviction to not be a conviction. It's a lot to do with, like, the legal system. I don't know enough about it to really go in depth with it at this moment. So I'm thinking that they could have been even more involved in this, because during Aaron Hernandez's time in the NFL, I think he played between 2010 and 2012. The NFL was at that time saying, or they was misrepresenting exactly what, head trauma can do to an individual. So since they were misrepresenting what head trauma could do to an individual, Aaron Hernandez's family can now say, well, or they are actually saying, you misrepresented what head trauma do. So y'all guys also owe us money, because these things wouldn't have happened if we would have knew that they were going to happen. These things wouldn't have happened. So right now, that's an avenue that it seems like Aaron Hernandez's family is going to take. But as far as my personal opinion on this, I think that we need to either take our children out of football, period. Because I'm gonna let you know, I'm gonna tell a little story real quick about my personal life, and this is just my personal opinion. All right, this is just my personal opinion. I used to play football when I was a kid. I used to play Pop Warner football, and one of my best friends back then, his name was Mandel, and he was a really good football player. He was built like a football player. He was a good football player. He was fast as heck. He had an arm. He wasn't very tall, so he wasn't gonna be a quarterback, but he was a pretty good football player. He could be a running back. Like, Like, the dude was short and built like a brick. Well, he wasn't short, but nowadays he was like 5'8", 5'9", but he was built like a brick even back then. I could remember games where he would come to the sidelines and he had a headache. It was obvious he had a headache, and our freaking Coach Yawn, would keep sending him back into the damn game. Same Coach Yawn. I had bruised ribs. I went over the middle to catch a pass and I got hit in my ribs and I got bruised ribs. For all of y'all that's never had bruised ribs before, no child should stay in the game after getting bruised ribs. Okay? A child doesn't get bruised ribs and you say, go back out there. So anyway, I had gotten bruised ribs. And for the rest of the time that I played on that team, I was made fun of because I had to sit out a week and I couldn't practice. I think I sat out a week or two. I can't remember. But I could barely breathe. I couldn't turn. Like, I couldn't turn like my hip, like my torso. I was a child and I had bruised ribs. I don't know if he was just, saying that I should just play until they break. I don't know what his thing was. But Coach Yon was sending my friend back into the game after my friend had obviously been concussed multiple times. And he was upset I didn't play after I got bruised ribs and couldn't even run. So what I'm saying is look, families, parents, y'all got two choices. Y'all could monitor your children when they play football or leave them open to life-altering injuries. Because for Aaron Hernandez's brain to be the way that it was, this wasn't something that only happened since he's been in the NFL. This is years upon years upon years of damage. I would absolutely not be surprised if this damage didn't start when he was a child. They said he basically had the brain of someone 20 years older than him. The damage that they seen from the CTE, just so y'all know what CTE is, when you don't only get CTE from having a hard collision, you could get CTE from just numerous taps throughout the course of a game. It's not even a hard tackle, but you fall to the ground and your helmet hits the floor. Your head hits the floor. Now that happens 15, 20 times a game. 30 times a game. Adding to that, the actual collisions that you have with other players. Adding to that, everything that happens in practice. This is what happens. So basically, what CTE is when your brain jiggles around inside of your head, and it gets damaged, and a protein. I think that the name of the protein is like tau, Tau. I think that's how you pronounce it. It gets released, and when the protein gets released, it goes to parts of your brain, and it causes damage to your brain. So basically, it like goes to different areas in your brain, and it like sits there. And then now it sits there. You understand? So it's like, I don't know, coagulates in areas around your brain. And he had some of the worst damage ever seen. And definitely not for somebody who should be 20-something years old. So please, when y'all sending y'all kids out here to play any sport, whether it's hockey, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, whatever sport you sending your kid out there to play, pardon me, monitor your kids, because some of these coaches don't care. I'm telling you from personal experience. They don't care. They're not even teaching the appropriate way to tackle. I didn't even know how to tackle. I was never taught how to tackle. I learned how to tackle from watching freaking TV, watching sports, and they talk about like back when I was playing back then, I didn't know how to tackle. We were just a whole bunch of kids literally throwing our helmets at the other players with our heads in the helmets, obviously. Causing all types of different damage to us because we had a coach that our safety wasn't important. I'm never going to forget that. And not because of what I had to go through, because, whatever, nigga, I don't really care. I was called chicken for years. Because the coach called me chicken because I didn't want to play with bruised ribs. And just so we could be clear on this, when I initially bruised my ribs, I kept trying to play. Because I was encouraged by the coach to play. Please, when y'all sending y'all kids out here, monitor the coaches. We don't need to have, like, Aaron Hernandez is looked at as a terrible person, and it's not fair. He was sick. He was sick, and the people who were supposed to care for him in his youth didn't do a good job. And because they didn't do a good job, he turned into this. When just as easily, he could have been something different. He could have took less hits and still have been a successful football player. He's like the best tight end in football. I mean, you could argue other guys was better pass receivers. You could argue some other guys was better blockers. But to have the total package, him and Gronk were the two best tight ends in football for the total package. Every time they talk bad about this guy, it upsets me. Because you just got people talking. They don't do no research. They don't look, they don't try to find out what they're talking about. They just picking sides. Not everything is black and white. Some things are black and white. Don't get it confused. But not everything is black and white. And if we're not going to look at why things happen, then things are going to continue to repeat themselves. There should be a new law, rule, something, where until you get to high school, you cannot play with pads. Seriously. All of these freaking Pop Warner leagues needs to turn to flag football, where they do actually teach the appropriate ways to do things. But they should turn it to some kind of flag football, something else other than what it is. Because unless you're going to have competent coaches who's going to care about the health of these kids more than they care about winning or losing a damn game, then it shouldn't be held to their responsibility for the children's welfare. I'm not going to even try to be funny, but I'm going to tell one story about my friend Mandel. Just so I could just nail home how effed up this freaking coach was. So, we had roommated. Me, I had this girl I used to date at the time, Maria, and Mandel was my roommate. Actually, it was his house. He had an extra room. I had just came back from out of town. I moved into his crib. You know what I'm saying? I was going to work at the time. At the time I moved in, I had just graduated from I used to go to school. I used to go to college. It was like a trade school. It taught you digital media, stuff like that. I learned a whole bunch of stuff about computers and stuff. Some of the stuff I still use to this day. So I had just graduated, and now I was going to work full time, and I was going to school full time. So I used to like never sleep, just to keep it a buck with you. But I had just graduated, and where I had been staying at, I had been staying with I had just came out from down south, and I had moved in with my stepmother, but there was problems there because she just really didn't care for me. So then I had moved in with some relatives, but one of my cousins had gotten pregnant, so they needed the space, so I had to move out. So when I had moved out, I had moved back in with my stepmother for like a minute. You gotta understand, like I work, like I'm never even home. You understand what I'm saying? But homeboy, my homeboy Mandel, he was like, yo, I got an extra room, my dude. I got a 2-bedroom apartment. I was like, cool. You know what I'm saying? So I moved in with him. Anyway, some stuff happened. I was there for a while. Me and my girl ended up moving out. Upon me and my girl moving out, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's just like the loneliness or whatever the hell got to him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But he gets into some kind of fight with his cat. True story. True damn story. He gets into, every story I tell you is true, by the way. He gets into some kind of fight with his cat. I don't even know how you could get into a fight with a cat. It's a cat. He gets into some kind of fight with a cat, his cat. Then He lives on the 22nd floor. Was it 22nd? I think it was the 22nd floor. He throws his cat off of the terrace of the 22nd floor. Then, you know those mirrors that you screw onto the back of your dresses, screw on the back of your bureaus, the dresses, the long dresses, the mirror that you screw on the back of it. Then he takes one of those things. After he throws the cat off of the terrace, he takes one of those things and he throws it off of the terrace after the cat. What? Then, after he throws the thing off of the terrace after the cat, he goes downstairs to go get the cat. Butt naked with nothing but a pair of shoes on. Seriously. So when I hear about brain damage, especially CTE, especially something that causes like injuries that people got from football, that shit hit home. People demonizing this man. This man was sick. He was sick. He needed help. He needed people in his life, his moms, siblings, his coaches, when he was growing up, to stop pushing him sometime. We should push each other, but there's certain instances where you can't push. The body just can't take it. It's crazy, yo. They said a man 20 years older. He's 27 years old. 27. Basically had the brain of somebody that was 50. They said out of the 400 and something brains that they freaking looked at, his was like the worst. That's crazy. And you're still going to have freaking morons that don't understand anything about brain disease that are still going to demonize this man because of his sickness. Sometimes enough is enough, yo. Sometimes we have to look and pay attention to why things happen, not just that things happen. I want to know what y'all guys think about this. Anybody that made it to the end of this video, please hashtag Bronx Bombers. And hashtag CTE for me also. That's all I got on this one. I love y'all. Keep each other safe. If you got your kids in some sports, please watch these coaches. A lot of these coaches, they don't give a damn. I'm keeping it a buck with you. They don't care. Their kid might not even play for them next year. A lot of these coaches, not all of them, but a lot of them, they don't care. They don't care what injuries your kids get. They don't care. That's all I got on this one. I love y'all. I'm out. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. If you would like to help dictate the direction that this channel takes, please leave a comment. All comments are appreciated, whether positive or negative. Thank you very much and enjoy your day. And remember, positive thoughts cause for positive things to happen. Let's get it.